So I've talked a lot about the fact that the Republicans, one, have no evidence for their Biden impeachment. Two, no matter how it ends for them, it ends badly for them. But there's an article, this came from Raw Story, that actually quotes multiple different Republican lawmakers, all of whom are pretty much against impeachment because they understand how stupid it is. But they've pointed out another scenario on how they lose that I hadn't thought of yet. So, hey, I've laid out like the 4 different scenarios and how they're all bad for Republicans. Apparently there's a 5th. So here is that 5th scenario according to these very concerned Republicans in the House of Representatives. Suppose we get this inquiry, and then, of course, obviously, this thing goes to a full vote in the House on articles of impeachment. What happens to the Republicans who vote against impeachment because there's no evidence? You do have a bunch of MAGA freaks and just regular old Republican freaks, the old school variety, out there in this country that want Biden impeached. They don't care that there's no evidence. They want it done, and they want it done now. But you've got some Republicans that actually have enough sense to say, listen, I'm not going to do it if there's no evidence. So those crazed Republicans demanding impeachment as payback for the Democrats impeaching Trump, they're going to take out their wrath in one way or another, hopefully only electorally, against those Republicans who vote against it. Just like Donald Trump will. Donald Trump will target any Republican that votes against impeachment, just like he targeted every Republican that voted for his impeachment. So anybody who votes no, they're putting a giant target on their back where these Republicans could say, you know what? You're not true to the movement. We're going to primary you. And if you're the candidate, we're just not going to show up and vote in November. I'm good with that, right? I got no problem with that. But here's the thing. Let me read you some of these quotes from these Republicans. Here's Ken Buck, who famously has been the Freedom Caucus guy that's like, yeah, this is a big dumb idea. Ken Buck said this. When he used the term impeachment inquiry, now we have set expectations with the activists who are expecting an impeachment. When you start talking about the I word, the activists get fired up. It doesn't matter what the facts are. They want us to move forward. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The fired up, crazed MAGA base of the Republican Party thinks impeachment is going to happen now. Like, they don't understand what the word inquiry means. I promise you, most of them can't even spell it. I know because I get hate messages from these people every day. They can't spell to save their lives. So they think like Biden's probably already been impeached. I guarantee if you were to ask them, and I hope the people at the Good Liars do this next time they're at a rally, I guarantee you there's Republicans in this country right now that think Biden has been impeached. So that's a fun question to ask them. Then you have, Republican Representatives French Hill and Dave Joyce. They don't believe that the investigations led by the House Oversight Committee had turned up enough evidence to justify an impeachment inquiry. Republican Representative Dan Bishop says, quote, most of my base voters that I encounter want me to do something up here, but nobody's ever told me you just do it regardless what the facts are. I haven't heard it that way. They'd like to have an explanation why nobody's doing anything, apparently about a number of things from their perspective. So Bishop is pointing out the fact that, yeah, my constituents want me to do stuff, but this impeachment thing is not the stuff they want done. They kind of want me to, legislate, not get Trump's revenge for him. So you've got enough Republicans, like with just those that I read, if those people vote no on impeachment, impeachment fails. Because there's also others in this article, but they don't have the votes. But I do think a word of warning from Ken Buck's statement. The activists now expect it. And that expectation, that pressure coming from those activists could push these anti-impeachment Republicans to just say, to hell with it, I'm going to vote yes to impeach because they don't want to deal with the crazies. So that's something to keep an eye on. And again, it's a thing I had not factored into my, 4 steps of how this could end. There is a 5th, and it still is not good for the Republican Party. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.